Hey everyone, welcome back to the garage. I am Pat, and tonight I'm going to be building one of these right here, the storage shelf that you can see, but much nicer. This shelf here I built just out of spare 2x4s and some plywood I had laying around. I built it mostly for my cordless screwdrivers, but as you can see, you can also put some air tools, and it actually holds my cordless circular saw there too, which is kind of nice. The one that I'm going to build, and it's going to be much nicer than this, but it's going to have another shelf on top, so you can have a spot to put your screws and hardware, and then there will be another spot on top to put your chargers for the batteries. Materials, we have a 1x12 8-footer in pine. Should be able to do everything with that. I do have some scrap 1x's in 1x4, 1x6 if needed. But I think we can get most of it done with this 8-foot. We will be using these screws right here. This is one of my favorite screw with this combination where you can use a square bit or a Phillips. I prefer to use this square. We'll also be some places nailing using these brad nailers with the air nailer. When I do nail stuff in, I'll be using this Titebond 3, my favorite glue when I'm working on these projects. And if I do have screw heads that I want to cover, I will be using these right here, these plugs. There might be some spots where I don't want to show any screws or plugs. In that case, we'll use these dowel pins. All right, next step here, we'll start cutting. Here's a rough outline of what I'm going to be doing here. You can see I put in there to add another separator. I was going to do 5 tools and decided to set it up for 6. They'll be spaced out 3 1/8 inch, and in between each one will be about 1.5 inches to hang the tools. We're going to have 3 inches to the top where the tools are going to hang, and then the middle section there you can see is 4 inches, and that's enough to have 2 1-pound boxes of screws stacked on top of each other, or the big 5-pound box of screws or nails. So there's plenty of room for storing your screws and nails, different hardware. And then on the top there's 2 inches on that back there, so there's plenty of room to countersink screws in there to hang it. And then also if you wanted to put any kind of like a surge protector, power strip or something on the back there, the 2 inches should be plenty of room for that. Alright, so I just finished cutting everything. This is the last side. You can see over here I've kind of started putting it together here, just kind of laying it out, making sure everything's going to work. So I'll show you how everything is laid out right now. This will give you kind of an idea. There's the top section where the batteries will be able to go, middle section for hardware, screws, nails, and then the bottom section where all of the tools are going to hang. What I ended up doing on these sections here, I used a couple spare 1x4s that I had, and then these I ripped down on the table saw to get them at 3 inches. Just wanted to make sure, instead of leaving them at the 3.5, that we have enough space here, here, and here. So, and then I used the table saw to cut these down to make sure that we had enough room, the 1.5 inches in between each of these to hang the tools. So I took all the pieces and ran them on the belt sander, smoothed the tops, the sides, everything, the edges, and then kind of rounded the edges for the parts that are going to be seen. I think it'll give it a nice finish. Next step I am going to do, I'm going to start assembling this, and the first step I'm going to actually take some of the pieces, I'm going to put them on, and I'm going to use glue where the pieces are going to be contacting each other, and going to use the brad nailer to nail those together. I have put these pieces here together with glue and then just 2 nails in each to hold it. I used these, just made a couple of little pieces to help line it, make sure that these are centered. Basically what I'm doing, I'm putting that down there, there's those pieces in there, lining up the front. Putting a nail in, slide it to the back, so I can line that up, center it, and putting a nail in there. Here's the bottom shelf right there. It's a little loose because, again, all it is just some nails that are holding it in, 2 nails with some glue. Next step here is going to be taking drill bits, pre-drilling a few holes right here in the top and then across the bottom here, and then I'm going to run screws in each one of these to tighten them up. Alright, you can see what I did right here. I did a pre-drill with a bit that's just a little bit smaller than the screw that I made. And then this bit right here is a countersink bit. And then I added countersink for each one. So now when we put the screws into these, the screw head will be recessed or flat with the top of this. There you go. They're nice and recessed. You won't really see them when the shelf is sitting there. So here's the finished product. I'm not going to stamp it, seal it, or paint it at this point. This is a gift, and I'm not quite sure what they're going to want to do. So we'll leave it like this, unfinished, so they can finish it up however they want. A couple things I'll just kind of show you on the ends here. I decided not to use screws, so you can actually see a little bit of the nail holes, but I did the nails. I glued them on all the intersections and then put a bunch of nails in just to make sure it's nice and sturdy. Now the other thing that I did on the back side, you can see some of these across the bottom. Those are just to catch these pieces, these bottom pieces, and that's just to keep them straight and add a little more sturdiness for the tools that are hanging. And there we have the finished product. You can see plenty of room there. We have 3 different screw guns, the circular saw, and 2 air nailers. One's a brad nailer and one's a stapler. Lots of space up here for screws, any kind of hardware that you want. Just show there, it goes way back. Lots of room, so you can add even more. From the top, plenty of space to put your chargers and batteries. Should be able to screw through here into your studs in the garage or wherever you do it, through there, and down here. So this should be plenty strong to hold up on the wall. And as I was saying before, you can add a power strip right here and be able to plug in all of your stuff at one time. So I gotta say, I'm really happy the way that this turned out. Plenty of storage, it looks good, and I think I'm gonna build another one for myself to replace that right there. That one definitely served its purpose, but this one here looks a lot better and has a lot more storage. Total cost, you're probably looking at maybe 20-30 bucks. I had a lot of the screws and different things laying around here, so I didn't have to buy them, but 20-30 bucks, a few hours of your time. I think it's well worth it. Looks good, very functional. I've seen them on Etsy and eBay anywhere from 80 to 130, so you can save yourself anywhere from 50 to 100 doing it yourself. Fun project. Nice time to get out in the garage and enjoy yourself too. So till next time, thanks for joining.